Greetings, GameCola faithful, and welcome to the GameCola podcast. This is podcast number 109, and I am your host and podcast commander, Joseph Martin. With me today, I have a lovely crew for our podcast this evening, and that is the people who are Diana Gray, Alex Jedraszczak, Michael Gray, James Pelster, and Anna Bryniarski. Everyone, please introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, my name is Diana Gray, GameCola.net's resident fangirl, and I'm playing a video game right now.
Shocker.
Hello everyone. Well, it is shocking for GameCola. Hello everyone. I am Alex Jedraszczak. I am humble piano bum, just back from my trip to Japan.
Hello everybody, I'm Michael Gray, and I used to be in charge of the podcast. I'm not sure what I do now ever since I've been usurped 5 years ago.
It's been a while.
Hi, I'm James Pelster, and I decided to crash this podcast because why not?
Hi, I'm Anna Bryniarski. I'm GameCola's resident social media trash queen.
And that's all of the people that are here. So, we did it. Good job, everyone. Good intro.
Good job. We introduced ourselves.
Jetty, I want to go back real quick. Because you said, like, a hobo piano or something, and I'm kind of curious where that came from.
Humble piano bum.
What is that? Is that a thing, or did you just make it up?
Have you been on GameCola.net?
Yes.
Have you?
Busted.
And just finished being co-editor-in-chief with Diana for several months.
Hey, that's me.
So I was on GameCola.net, the website that you can see with your own eyes.
I guess a more apt question would be, were you on GameCola.net approximately 3 to 5 years ago, perhaps, when this was a more common joke on GameCola?
See, 5 years ago would have been 2012, which would have been before my time.
Oh, man.
As you can now see on the updated GameCola website, where it tells you how long we've been on the staff.
Would you look at that?
There have been updates to the GameCola website,
Okay.
GameCola.net.
So, for our more recent listeners, why don't you explain what a humble piano bum is?
A humble piano bum is basically anybody who's no longer doing the thing that they used to do. Notably, that's right, at one time was Ace Attorney, but then in one game he was a humble piano bum.
And now he is an Ace Attorney again.
Nobody liked him as a piano bum. Aww.
Nope.
He wasn't very good at playing piano
How
anyway.
do you get a piano when you're a bum? Like, those are expensive.
He had a side business gambling. He used his daughter's psychic powers to cheat.
That is true.
So how did he lose money?
Well, it wasn't that he lost
He was
money,
cheating.
lost
He
his
won all the
job.
time.
But how did they figure out? How did they figure out that he was cheating?
She has a magic bracelet, and he basically... apparently he was really good at poker just in general, but, he used his daughter to cheat on all the very important matches, if that makes sense.
I don't think that she has
all
a
the
bracelet.
time.
Does she have a bracelet? Oh, maybe she does.
doesn't have a bracelet?
Maybe she does. I might be
Aw,
making
well,
that
then
up.
how does she...
She's just good at it. Let me look it up. I haven't played Apollo Justice in a long time for good
Anyway,
reason.
that was one of the gimmicks in the game, was determining people's poker tells. It was...
I like when Michael's here. We can
It
talk
was
about
one of the new features.
We can talk about Ace Attorney and no one will yell
So,
at me.
well, as long as you don't say anything crazy like, I don't know, what's her standard Ace Attorney jokes? It's been so long.
Wow. All right.
Larry is best character, then I won't have to yell at you.
I don't think I've ever said that before. I'm kind of offended.
Wasn't there... I didn't play that DLC game, but there's supposed to be a DLC case with Larry in it. Am I
there
wrong?
is. No, you're right.
Oh, good.
It has Larry in it. but
Obviously the main character, right? He's
I
not,
mean,
I'm crying.
He's very important to the case. I'll give him that. And he has this snazzy new theme.
Oh my.
Great.
Speaking of Ace Attorney, I'm live editing my my walkthrough for Spirit of Justice, the newest game, case number 4, right now. And by live editing, I mean I'm just taking all my videos and cropping out all the borders, because it's really, really hard to record a 3DS screen and not have a black border all around the screen.
You could always just replace you could just make like an overlay to just add something interesting around it. I mean, it takes some time, but then you could just reuse the overlay for every episode. Just like a simple background or something.
People do that. I have no idea how to do that.
I know a lot of people do it for
good
DS
YouTuber.
Games. People do it for
spoiler.
Yeah, people regularly do it for like standard DS games because those screens are really hard to put in a standard layout. Because at least the 3DS screen, you can blow up the top screen to really, really close to a 16:9 aspect ratio. But the DS screens, like most people now, they lay them out sideways. But even then, there's still a lot of just kind of dead space.
GameCola always laid them out sideways for our 999 walkthrough,
That
which is available
true.
on our internet website,
Shamelessplug.com.
gc.net.
Shameless plug.com.
That's not a website. That's the YouTube channel.
That's true.
GameCola does
There,
not
it's
secretly
available
own
on the
YouTube.
interwebs or something. I don't know.
Just Google it.
What if GameCola just owned YouTube the entire time?
Ooh.
Why don't I have more
What a
subscribers
twist.
then?
It's got to be careful. It's not like if you're like a crime boss and you make like bajillions of dollars, you don't just give like your son a bajillion dollars and it's like, where did that money come from? You got to play it cool.
I feel like this podcast went off the rails really quickly.
I don't know what the podcast was supposed to be about, so...
It's not.
know if we
this
had
is the
a
GameCola
topic.
podcast. It's not about anything. We just talk.
We just talk about whatever.
And as long as it's about video games or GameCola, it's fine. And we were talking about the GameCola YouTube channel, so it's fine.
Everything's great.
It's cool.
Right.
It's awesome.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team, like a GameCola. Also a secret, the Lego movie was actually about GameCola.
You weren't supposed to tell them that.
Well, we're just spilling the beans,
GameCola
here.
owns everything.
Also, another secret, GameCola is actually secretly Big Bean.
What?
What?
Like when someone's like, oh, that's like as
No.
a joke, they're like, oh,
No.
you're in the pocket of like a business, so you say like give me a product. Say a product.
We're like
Clorox.
Big
No.
Cola. We're Big Cola.
Pepsi.
We're big.
We're
Pepsi.
Big Cola.
Pepsi.
We're in the pocket of Big Cola.
We're Big Cola.
Game Pepsi. Wait.
Game Pepsi.
Well, I mean, it
Well-
used to be called Pepsi Cola, right?
The little known fact in the far north, we're actually known as Game Soda. It's regional.
What is this podcast even?
Do we want to talk about video games?
We actually talk
How
about
does-
something?
Shouldn't
How
we
does
be?
everyone feel about talking about video games?
I
Yeah.
like
we
video
have-
games.
I can do that.
Game Pop.
Game Pop.
Stop.
Pop
That's
Cola.
wrong.
Wait.
No, it's not.
Jetty.
I
Hey,
will
Jetty.
fight everybody.
Hey
Yes.
Jetty.
Yes,
You went to
Joe.
Japan, didn't you?
I did.
Did you
Are you-
perchance do anything related to video games whilst in Japan? Like
I did.
purchase and then play?
I did, in fact, both purchase and play games that I got in Japan. I also played games while I was in Japan. Actually,
Whoa.
I got to play the Nintendo Switch. Although,
Hey.
being that I believe that it came out at the same time in all countries,
Yes, I think that was
It did,
Yes,
I
it
think,
did.
yeah.
It did.
there wasn't exactly anything out of the usual. I did.
But still.
I have a video of it. A video of me losing to a small child in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Great.
As all,
Great.
as everybody seems to be doing nowadays.
Now, to be honest, I actually did pretty well against the small child, and also that his brother and his mother, as far as I could tell, also lost to him. But
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
he's a prodigy.
He's very good at Mario Kart.
yes,
We can go with that.
yes, I've actually posted quite a bit about. Well, okay, the one thing I haven't posted about is the games that I bought. However, I did post about my time playing some Japanese arcade games. I was quite a fan. Actually, oh, they're right over here. I have my cards still. My scannable cards for my scannable card games that I played.
Now, Jetty, I
Yes.
can't help but wonder
Yes.
why you have scannable card games from Japan when you are in fact no longer in Japan.
But I might go back and I might want to play them again. I can
Duh.
load up-
Will they have the same machines when you go back?
Okay,
What's
here's
the
the thing.
turnaround
Ooh,
time
that's
on those
true.
sorts of things?
They're there for a long time, I can tell you, because I looked up about this Oreca Battler, and it's been around for like 5 or 6 years at least, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, that one might be a bit old, but I can tell you. Hold on, let me go, because it actually has like a Wikipedia page because it has a cartoon and stuff.
Wow, it is a
Hold on.
cartoon? Wow.
Hold on.
Well, then Jeddy said in his article that pretty much all of them are associated with some sort of cartoon.
Most of them, they're targeted at children.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it says original. Oh, hold on. It
So
says,
do people go into the video game industry because they really want to break into the cartoon industry?
it
Maybe
would
it's
not
just
be
an
a
easier
bad
way
idea.
in. I don't know.
It's like I really wanted to make cartoons, but I wasn't very good at it, so video games are my way in.
So I'll just make the video games based on the cartoons.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Trading card arcade game released in March 2012. So yeah, it's been around about 5 years. This one has. Hold on. How long has iCots been around? Also 2012. But yeah, like a lot of these games have been around for a while, and they have cartoons. But yes, I also bought quite a number of Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Boy, and PC Engine games that are in Japanese from Japan.
Perhaps you could answer this question. What is the difference between a Famicom and a Nintendo Entertainment System?
Oddly enough, they have very different shaped cartridges, but they're basically, I mean, they're essentially the same machine. But we, in America, I mean, the Nintendo Entertainment System is just the American version of the Famicom. But quite
Okay.
a bit was,
Aren't there like
Actually-
some different features? Like
yeah, quite a bit was changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a microphone in the original, and you could also get like the Famicom disk system. You could get the modem. You could get I believe they had a thing where you could like program stuff. Like you got a little keyboard and you could program.
Don't forget the yeah, they had basic for it, I think, but don't forget the expansion audio. That was one of the biggest parts, is that the Famicom supported additional audio chips on the game cartridge, and they desoldered a pin on the NES motherboard when they manufactured them in America, and all you have to do is just basically add a little jumper wire to re-enable it on the American version. But for whatever reason, they disabled it in America. And actually, the cartridges, like the boards that the cartridges go on, are actually all made in the same place, or generally they're supposed to go to either country, like the PCBs for the cartridges are. So if you actually open up an NES cartridge, you'll notice that the actual circuit board inside is less than half the height of the cartridge, because they were meant to be able to fit into either of them.
Yep.
It's just
No,
kind of a
I
lot of
knew-
wasted space.
Yeah, I knew about that one. That like the original Famicom cartridges were about the same. Like they're a small bit smaller than the Super Famicom, whereas
Yeah.
in America they were completely different shaped. Like over here they were a weird square with a little plug at the end.
Yep.
And yeah, I saw ages ago that the actual card inside the NES cartridge is very small in comparison to the size of the NES cartridge.
It's always very funny. You're just like, all right, let's see the game. Oh, what?
Yeah.
It looks like this part of it's just missing. It's like, where'd the rest of the game go?
Yeah. Maybe this is used in more advanced games. I don't know.
Yeah, I can say that that some of the cartridges actually were. I heard that there are some Famicom cartridges that are like a couple millimeters taller than others, like because of the expansion, some of the expansion chips that they had to put in. Like, I can tell you, I actually have the tool that opens up the back of them, and I can tell you that Super Mario Bros. 3, like the chip inside, is actually noticeably taller than Mega Man 3, for whatever reason.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I think that I noticed that myself in the cartridges, that some of them are like slightly different, but I can't remember what it was about them.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the height. I don't know. Just something like I can't remember. But there was some way to tell, like if they used a certain late model expansion chip inside that just didn't quite fit or something like that, and they had to change something about the cartridge to make it work.
Yeah, I could have sworn.
But
I mean, I'm looking
yeah.
at them right now, but I can't remember what it was.
But oddly
did
enough,
notice-
the Famicom cartridges, if you want to play Famicom games on an NES, you actually need a little adapter. But for Super Famicom and Super Nintendo cartridges, all you have to do is take your Super Nintendo and just rip off a little piece of plastic inside the cartridge slot, and then you can play both at the same time. Well, not at the same
Yeah,
time,
actually,
2 video games at the same time.
but yeah.
Dun
You
dun.
can't handle this much video game. Ah!
We need blast processing.
no, okay, so, in order to play all these games, I really struggled for a long time. I was like, oh man, do I actually want to buy like an original console? Because the TurboGrafx is really what I want, but it's like super expensive to buy it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
from what I've heard, it's like delicate and so like difficult to bring back. But what I ended up buying is the Retro Freak, which can play them all. However, what I didn't get is the like additional $30 unit to do the cartridge conversion for Nintendo. So I actually like it could play NES cartridges if I had bought that, but for some reason I decided against it at the time.
Well, there's probably cheaper, like, non adapters of different brands that'd probably just be cheaper to buy later.
I mean, I could also I also just have an NES. So
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
that's-
Does
I
it
think
work
that's-
though? Because I have
it does.
two, and only one of them works some of the time.
Now, however, I guess the one thing that I didn't think that I would like as much is all of the like extra bonus cool features that the Retro Freak has, which is that number one, every time you plug in a game, it automatically like takes the saves off of the cartridge and saves it to internal memory. It can also do the same thing with the actual games.
Oh, so you can say you can dump the games.
Yeah.
Is it kind of? That sounds kind of like the Retron 5. I think it can do that with like Game Boy games and stuff.
No, I guess that was like another one that I've heard of, but I guess being that I kept seeing the Retro Freak like everywhere in like every game store that I went to, I was like, maybe this is a cool
This must
thing,
be
maybe this
good.
works. Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice one because the Retron. I can tell you how much was it? Because the Retron 5 is really expensive.
I paid basically 150 for it used.
Okay, that's
I think
about.
regularly I was seeing it for like 180, 170, 180, depending on where you got it.
Yeah, let me see, because the Retron 5 is I think around that. Let's see, the Retron 5 is 160 new, and it plays NES, Famicom, Super Famicom, Sega Genesis, I believe, as well as Game Boy Advance and Game Boy / Game Boy Color games, I think.
This one does all of that and the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, so I'd say you definitely got a better deal there. Now, does it? I assume it's using emulation rather than similar hardware, like kind of imitating the hardware.
No, my understanding is it's basically just a console emulator.
Okay.
And I haven't had any issues with it yet. Like, it seems to be able to play all the games successfully. Like, I've had issues in the past with like emulators having trouble with games.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't tried all of the games yet, but the ones that I bought so far have worked.
Play all the games, Jeddy.
Just play
All
all
the
games.
games.
Oh.
It. I was making a joke about this before that I was gonna. They're like, "Oh, are you gonna play all the games on, the GameCola channel?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna play them all at the same time from the same controller."
All at the same time.
That'd be great if you could just have a split screen. You just have a cartridge plugged into each of the slots, and then you have a 5 or 6 way split screen. Just.
I've seen somebody do that with like Mega Man 3.
I saw somebody made a tool-assisted speed run that plays through Mario 1, Mario 2, the Japanese Mario 2, the English Mario 2, and Mario 3 all at the same time using one set of button inputs, and it gets through all of the it just has one set of inputs that it runs through for all 3 of the games at the same time, and it plays them all. And it beats them. It was like one of the craziest things I've seen ever.
The idea always sounds great when that happens, but I've noticed with those videos, it generally tends to be, whatever you call it. In 2 of the games, Mario gets stuck in a corner, while in game number 3, Mario actually makes progress, and then they just switch off between games like that.
Not really, not with this one. With this one, because it's tool assisted, they can basically they can set up those inputs so that basically all of them are always moving. Now, granted, they do make good use, they make a lot of use of loading times, when it's transitioning between screens and stuff. On the other games, they use that as an opportunity to kind of, get a little burst of speed in the active games, but for the most part, all of the games are moving around at the same time.
Isn't Mario 3 the only one of the games in the series where you get to pick which level you'll play?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's like an overworld map in Mario 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that is an accurate statement.
Oh no. Have we reached
Statement.
a lull in the conversation?
Dun dun dun!
Whatever shall we do?
Wait,
Hey,
Video
everyone.
games.
Move on.
Hey, everyone.
you beat
Every-
me.
Everyone.
What?
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 What? Huh?
What?
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 Michael beat me. He said video games.
Yeah, I did.
I'm leaving that in.
Okay.
So I have a question
Oh,
for the GameCola staff that is currently
Okay.
present.
Uh-huh.
what is it?
What is your favorite game mechanic? And before you answer, I mean like something broadly. So like not like something that's only appeared in one game, but like something that appears in several games that you like, and you're like, oh yeah, this kind of mechanic. I really like this. What kind of thing?
Time travel.
Ooh.
Okay, but like
That's a blessing and a curse.
like what kind of time travel?
Okay.
And is
I
time travel a
like the
game
one
mechanic
where
or a
it's
plot
basically
device?
it lets you go back in time a few seconds and let you redo something. Like I've seen that in Prince of Persia's the Prince of Persia series. I've also seen that in I think it's Eternal Love, whatever the first Eternal Love game was called. I'm gonna have to look it up.
And then Overwatch.
I was gonna say Life is Strange, but okay.
I mean, that's it being an Overwatch doesn't invalidate that point.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
See, at first when you were mentioning time travel, I was like, is that really a game mechanic? But yes, I guess in that sense, it is a game
In that
mechanic. I was
sense.
thinking of it more as a plot device rather than
Yeah.
actually something
Yeah,
that you can do.
no. So the game is Immortal Love, Letter from the Past, and it basically had that mechanic. It was
So-
scripted, so every time you go into the past, you kind of have to do it. The game doesn't give you any options, but I could pretend it was an organic component to the game, right?
Yes.
I think Braid, is that the name? That one also has that.
Okay, here's this.
James.
Oh, that is
this
not the right thing.
audio. This is an audio podcast. No
Oh,
one
They
yeah, that's
can't
right.
see it.
Oops.
Fail.
Whoa, they made a Mega Man X3? What?
Michael, I have good news for you.
I thought I only played like the first 2 for the GameCola YouTube channel. Never got around to number 3.
Or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or 8.
7 I tried to send to Nathaniel because I bought it at the store and he said he'd never been able to find a copy. And I sent it to him, and like 3 months later, he sent me a message back saying, yeah, this cartridge is dead, you can't play it.
Oh.
Sadness.
And therefore I will never try to be helpful again.
Great.
What about another game mechanic?
Turn-based combat, random battles.
That's just like
So
saying
you like
50%
random
of all
battles.
RPGs.
Puzzles.
Jetty, now hold on a second. What you particularly enjoy random battles?
Actually, to be entirely honest, it's something I've been struggling with these games. Got all these,
Well, at least he's honest.
I got all these games that are from like 1985 and like that era. There's one I get into combat like every 3 steps, Like, I had one time where I was like, okay, I fast-forwarded through this battle. Like, you can press Option X, and it'll just fast-forward. I'm just sitting there mashing A. And then I'm like, okay, I got out of battle. One step, another battle. Same thing, one step, another battle.
Sounds rough.
Yeah.
See, when they say that this game has, 30 to 40 hours of gameplay.
That's what they mean.
20 to 30 hours of just endless grinding.
Yes.
Actually, speaking of sort of random encounters, I've been watching somebody play the original Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System.
Oh, man.
And that game has a really interesting sort of setup where not only do you encounter enemies when you're walking around on the overworld, but also there are several points in the game that I've seen anyway. I think I'm maybe halfway through the playthrough, but there's several points where you kind of go into caves or dungeons and you enter like a first-person mode, where you're actually walking around in the dungeon in first person. You walk forward, you back up, you turn left, you turn right, and you also encounter them just seamlessly. Like you take a step forward and it shows, you're moving forward, and then just boom, the enemy's right there. There's no fade out into a battle screen because the dungeon layout is kind of already that battle scene.
Yeah.
Which I actually find it's a very clever way of doing it. It also, I mean, it kind of makes it a little bit more jarring when you run into enemies just on the overworld walking around, because you can see that the battles make much more sense. They're kind of meant to look better when you encounter enemies while dungeon crawling rather than just out on the overworld. Yeah. But it's I saw that and I thought it was a very interesting way of doing random battles. Is not only you have the traditional RPG, but you also have kind of like a roguelike sort of thing where you're walking around in first person.
I'm going to say two things. Number one, I am still sad that we have not recovered the data from, here it is in that time of year when we celebrate Christmas in July, and we're just called to remember GameCola's worst Christmas ever.
What happened? I don't think I was here for this.
Yes, I do.
Christmas was canceled.
Christmas was canceled at the GameCola household.
What
It was
happened?
a sad year for us
The reason that
all.
we celebrate Christmas in July now, because we did it.
Because we canceled
we did it to
the
make
real
up
Christmas.
for the fact that real Christmas and year-end awards couldn't happen.
Hold on. What was it? What was it that he says in Nightmare Before Christmas, where the child is like, "No more Christmas" or whatever? Sorry,
I don't
I
know.
just ruined everything.
Ha, child.
Ha.
You are correct.
Ha, child.
Ha.
Why is that a ha?
Because he's happy that he's ruined Christmas. That was his goal or whatever.
What?
What?
The
No.
child?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
No.
he's telling the child. He's ha, child. He's laughing at the child.
Okay, so anyway, maybe we can just cut that whole part out.
Yeah.
No, it stays in.
Leave it.
Stop this.
Leave it. Anyways.
So anyway, the point is, yes, GameCola's worst Christmas ever. We lost a really excellent review by none other than Shannon Hoover. That was for the original Phantasy Star.
Oh, we lost that?
Oh.
We did,
Oh.
and it
Oh,
was
I didn't
one
know
of
we
my
lost that. That was a really good I remember
was,
that
I
was a
remember
really
reading
good
it.
review.
yeah, like it was legitimately. I was really happy to read it, and also especially because I have a keen interest in like that era of gaming. Considering that I just bought 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, he's counting.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's just the Famicom games.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
So, I think 3 of those are not RPGs. So anyway, it was a really good in-depth review. I liked the part where she talked about how you couldn't step more than 2 steps out of town for about the first half hour of gameplay.
Oh yeah, that's true. You have to do the first hour or so of the game is just grinding and just hoping that every single fight doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
Because at the start of that game, you are so horribly outmatched by even the simplest of enemies, and they kind of trick you. They fake you out, too, because inside the sort of town walls, there's a little tiny patch of trees. But you're actually not supposed to go there, because if you go into the little tiny patch of trees that is the closest thing to you when you first leave town, you will encounter enemies that are about 6 levels above where you're supposed to be. Like, you'll need to be level 6 or 7 to even remotely deal with them, and they will just wipe you out in just one turn. And that just totally threw me off, because I tried playing that game at first, and I just could not understand why what I thought were the first enemies you're supposed to fight were so incredibly difficult, until I realized, oh, you're supposed to walk down and to the right to get out of the town walls, out of what appears to be a nice little safe area, and then walk around just in the open grass, not going into the trees out there either, or the same thing will happen. But you just have to grind for about a solid, half hour at least, just to even be able to get through more than one battle in a row. And that really, I have to say, I do like what the game does, but I would say that's some pretty bad design. Like, that is, it's not even, that is a Nintendo hard game, and it's not even a Nintendo game.
Yep. So that was the first thing that I was going to say. The second thing is that, again, with all these games that I bought, I've seen a lot of creativity that, like, we kind of missed in, like, the American realm, where we sort of got, like, Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy, and that was kind of about it. We got, like, a few games that were similar. There was, like, a bunch of interesting battle systems that I've seen so far. One where, like, you have random battles, but it takes you to, like, a little map where you, like, run around and have kind of an action battle system.
Like, is it real-time, or is it turn-based in there?
No, it's completely real-time. It's kind of stupid, like, if you've ever played the original Ys, like, YS, the name of the game.
Oh, that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure. I think.
Jeddy pronounces it with the greatest of ease.
Oh.
I get it.
In the original game, you
Is
just
that
like
the other pronunciation?
The other one's wise.
Oh, I thought it was yes.
I thought it was is.
Is?
Yeah, is.
That's how it is how it is. I can go all night.
Is. Apparently that's how it's pronounced. Is. So anyway.
So I guess I was somehow right, even though I had no idea. Go figure.
But yeah, like, basically you just walk into the enemy, and there's this kind of weird, like, depending on your level and whatever, there's sort of a random, either you hit them or they hit you. It's kind of stupid, really, but...
So kind of like Hide-Glide, where you just walk into enemies and just at pure random, you'll hit them or they will hit you.
Yep. There is, because as you level up, you definitely do more hitting than getting hit.
Yeah.
But
but it's still random.
Yeah, there's no, you don't press any buttons.
Yeah, I would say I think that is a very clever design, because there aren't too many. I mean, obviously we have that game and then Hide-Glide that I can think of that do that, but just as a small aside, I'd be interested in seeing what kind of RPG battle systems people prefer, because I know I prefer ones where it's more dependent on what you do rather than randomness. Yeah. But I think, that kind of battle system that you described could definitely be enjoyable for other people for different reasons.
The other one that I really liked is they kind of did this with some tactics games, like Shining Force is like, with Shining Force, whenever you attack or whatever, it kind of shows like your character and the other character, and there's like a little animation of the attack that happens.
So like Fire Emblem.
Yeah. I guess.
Actually, Fire Emblem came out, the original Fire Emblem came out for the NES, didn't it?
Yeah, but yes, I don't remember if the
Fire
original...
Emblem Gaiden came out for the Famicom, and that's the only thing I know about the Famicom, to be honest. So that's why I asked the question earlier.
Huh.
I guess I don't know if the original one had that, like, little...
The second one had the animations, when you choose to attack a character. I don't think the first one did.
Okay, so I was playing a game for the TurboGrafx, and I really liked that it's turn-based. Like, it's not like a strategy system. I guess I'm kind of used to seeing that in strategy games. But, like, it's a turn-based thing. But it shows you, like, a little animation that's randomized. You hit attack, and it'll be like, oh, he shoots an arrow, and then it shows the arrow flying, and then the guy gets hit. Or, like, oh, he's like, running, and he does a jump, and then he, like, attacks the guy. And, like, I guess I found that an interesting difference. Like, it's so cinematic. Like,
Yeah, they did it. I mean, to get back to Fire Emblem Gaiden 2, they have a couple of those. I think in Fire Emblem, it's more instead of being randomized, it's like character specific. Like if your character's an archer, they'll have the archer animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if your character's a knight, they'll be riding on their horse and then they'll attack with their lance. There are a couple that are item specific. Actually, I think the Thunder Sword is the only one where basically your character holds the sword up and a bolt of lightning just comes out of it and attacks the enemy.
I'm sorry.
The interesting thing is you can turn off the animations, but that doesn't actually turn off the animation. You still go to the animation screen. It's just the characters stay in place while they attack each other rather than the animation of them moving across the screen to hit each other. It's not actually turning off the animation, but
It turns off the animation, not the cinematic. Imagine if that happened with any other, Final Fantasy, all the cutscenes just shows the characters just in T-poses if you turn off the animation, just sliding around. Also, with the way you describe the Thunder Sword attack, I'm sorry, just anytime I imagine a character just summoning a lightning bolt and it just falls from the sky, I just think of Pikachu from Smash Brothers, just Pika! That's just the only thing I can think of.
it's very similar.
So are there any other cool things about the RPGs?
It doesn't have to be about RPGs. It was like any kind of like game mechanic.
Yeah, if you guys have one, you can go ahead. If not, I'll flip through my collection and see if I can remember anything else that was cool.
I can't remember what game this was. I think was it Shadow of Mordor, I think? I don't know if anybody's played that, but there was some game, and I think it was Shadow of Mordor, but you basically, you could fight against these groups of enemies, and I remember very little about this, but the mechanic itself I found very intriguing. It was that you fight these groups of enemies, like this sort of enemy AI team, and depending on whether you win or lose against them, they actually get stronger. So, like, if you lose against them, you're in sort of like this tournament sort of thing. And if you lose against an enemy team, it's not just like game over, but your ranking goes down, and that AI team's ranking goes up. So later on in the game, you might actually refight them, except now they're even more difficult, which I thought was it's a very interesting way of doing that. That's not something you generally see in sort of an AI tournament. It's generally a mechanic that they don't do.
Usually AI is designed so that like if you're having a hard time, they make it easier, not harder.
Well, it's not to say that they make it more difficult immediately. It's just that, like, if you lose against one group, you don't fight those guys again immediately. Like, it's not like, oh, you lost against this boss, just restart from the last save, and now you fight them until you win. It's, oh, you lost against them, well, now they've moved up in the tournament ranking, so now, instead of fighting them immediately over again, now you have to fight against this different different group. And then eventually, when you make your way up to where that first boss has been moved to in the tiers, then you fight them again, except now they are at the respective difficulty of that new tier. If that makes any sense.
Really bad, and you're just constantly losing to people.
Well, then you lose. You lose the tournament.
Harder and harder and harder, and it's just like until the game is like literally impossible.
No, I mean, like the enemies, the group that you fight against, their difficulty doesn't change because you're fighting a new group. Like if you're in tier, if you're on the second bracket of a tournament and you lose against somebody there, then you have to refight. Then the guys that you lost to, they move up to bracket 3. So now you have to fight. You're still in bracket 2, so you fight a new group of enemies of the same difficulty.
But what if you lose to them as well?
Then they move up as well. And then you just keep getting a new group. You keep getting a new group of enemies at the same difficulty level.
But
But,
I
like,
guess what he's
how
asking is,
long
can you
can
run out?
No, I'm pretty sure they're randomly generated, so I'm pretty sure you can't run out.
But then, like, is the whole, like, upper bracket just, like, full? Like, if I lose 100 times, do I expand to the next tier of the bracket?
I'm not quite sure how it works. I would have to do more research into this. Let me see.
These are important questions you have to ask.
Break the game by being awful.
Be so bad that they couldn't have even expected it. Be so bad at the game that you break it.
Wasn't there a GameCola column about that at one point? I seem to remember it talking about how you could get stuck in one Pokemon game if you got rid of all your water Pokemon at one point, but you'd have to really, really try to get stuck.
I'm trying to think. If I could,
I'm sure Paul would know.
The Nemesis system. Yes, the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor. That's what it is. It's an AI structure. It says, this is just an article I'm reading. It says it's an AI structure that levels up enemy fighters and creates a sort of personal narrative for you and only you to experience. So when you encounter a character in the game and you're killed, that enemy rises in power and say you fight an orc and you lose against them. Well, because they defeated you, they rise in their ranks in sort of the orc clan or whatever. So the next time that you encounter them, they remember you. And now they're more powerful. So now you don't just go you're not supposed to just immediately go back and re-challenge them because now they're stronger. So now, if you want to defeat those guys and get your revenge, you have to work for it.
but my point isn't how do you get revenge. My point is, what if I'm so bad that I'm just elevate all of these things to the thing, and then when I have to move on to the next tier, I have to clear out all of the, everyone in tier 3 that I stuck there.
I was misremembering it. That's not, like, the actual specific tournament brackets are not, that was more just me explaining how it sort of worked.
Okay.
It's not, you're not actually in a tournament. I apologize.
See, I'm disappointed now, because now I can't break this
Now you
game
can't
where I
break it
wanted
in
to.
horrible proportions. There probably is a game that you can do that, though.
I am disappointed, James. How could you do this to me?
This podcast summary, Joe likes breaking things.
Like this silence. So what's another game? We can move into, like, one-offs. Because, Michael, you wanted to talk about video game gimmicks, right? So, like, maybe more, like, one game specific?
I don't have any game specific. I just want to make an adventure game where the screen is a triangle. And I want to see if there's a story I could do to make it fit. So I was thinking it could be like, it's like a pyramid, and you're trying to reach the top of the pyramid. Like DuckTales 2 for the Game Boy. The Egypt level is actually pyramid-shaped if you pay really, really close attention. Each screen is
why do you have
one
to
block
pay
of the
attention?
pyramid, so like the bottom row is like 5 screens wide, and then the next row is 4 screens wide, and then 3 screens wide, 2 screens wide, and at the very top is a secret room, which you wouldn't know about if you haven't realized it's in the shape of a pyramid.
So how do you make a screen that is shaped like a triangle? Because, Michael, most people's screens are in fact rectangular.
You're
Like,
blowing my mind.
Like, is it like a viewer? Like, it's like an like you put like a black overlay with a.
It's like a view. It's like a ViewMaster.
Inside?
Just the aperture in it is triangular.
Or are you taking a game, like a normal screen, like take a normal game and then just like squishing the pixels together as you go up higher, and so like it just becomes more and more squished together as you get to the.
These are all great ideas, and I'll make sure to use every single one of them in the game.
It's pretty easy, Joe. You take the square screen and you fold it in half from the diagonal corners, and then you rotate it, and then you set it so that the flat base is on the bottom, and then you have a triangular screen.
I'm going to ask...
And you can look at it from both sides.
Triangle have to be equilateral.
I mean, it probably doesn't have to, although that would make the folding much easier.
Like, could you make it...
It would also have to not be a glass screen.
That sounds too difficult for my liking.
Because, like, you could do one
It's because
that's
it is,
just, like,
probably.
It's just like you take a diagonal across the screen and do that kind of triangle.
Yeah.
What
You
if
could
you-
just
what if
just
you-
take an X-Acto knife. Just
What if you get like different power-ups as you go through the game, and it's like you get to choose different triangles for your screen?
Why would
I
different
actually
settings, and you
actually
switch
asked
between them.
about that too, and Paul said it's impossible to change resolutions mid-game. So what
No,
you would
don't
have to
change
do
You don't change the
is
resolution.
you'd actually have to set it up where it's like, sorry, you close the game and restart it, and then you get a different size screen.
You don't.
Yeah.
You,
These
don't
are
so you don't. You don't actually change like this screen. You just like black out part of the screen, and you just change.
That's
but, like,
cheating.
Okay.
Also, why can you not change resolution mid-game? There's tons of games that do that.
Well, I think it's just the
Not
system
in
is-
Adventure Game Studio.
Yeah.
That engine does not allow it.
Oh, sounds like you need a better engine.
Oh.
I wrote my own engine that could do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember having to do that for Pizzerian.
Yep, you used X and A. That's what I use as well. It's kind of a pain depending on how you want to get it to work, but
Okay, Paul, if you're... I'll just have to send this all along to Paul. Paul's going to have to learn a whole new programming language now.
yep, there you go.
Sorry,
I feel
Paul.
like, well,
You're
time to
welcome.
learn something new. Just so I can have this game.
Yeah.
That's a triangle.
So
I like that. That's good.
does anyone remember the Windows XP operating system?
No.
Vaguely.
Kinda.
Quite well.
Okay, because the children here might not remember.
Excuse me, Jetty. Excuse.
Nobody said it was
me,
you specifically.
I could be referring to our listeners.
I do not believe that you are referring to our
I didn't
listeners.
think that either, but
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I know that I'm not a
I could get a
child,
baby
so-
in here if you want to make your statement more...
I think I'm the youngest person here, and I know XP
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
well.
I was gonna say.
I mean,
is
yeah. If you bring your daughter in here, just be like, do you know anything about
that-
Windows XP?
I'm about to school you.
I'm about to school.
Windows XP. There was a fad for a while about not having programs that were square, like because
Oh.
coming from like Windows 98, it was a requirement, that like programs were in this square window block thing, and so like very briefly in the
Like-
early 2000s.
Like actually squares or like rectangles?
I mean, Windows could only handle programs that took it would only draw them in rectangular windows. But Windows XP added an ability to add transparency to your windows because of
Yes.
Windows Forms. So it was still sort of needed to be rectangular, but you could make
But you didn't
part of it
see it.
transparent.
Yeah, they would hide the edges or whatever, so that it looked so cool and futuristic. Like it was round corners on your window.
Oh.
Yeah, I
So
remember
yeah.
that.
Imagine,
Okay, yes, I remember that.
I imagine you could make it triangular using that. Just gonna say.
What is actually... Okay, next step is to figure out what the game is actually going to be about.
Illuminati.
I know. So that's why I was going to ask when I was thinking about gimmicky games. It's like, okay, don't we need some sort of justification to use the gimmick, or should we just do it because it looks
Nintendo
cool?
doesn't.
Wait,
Nintendo doesn't.
Look cool?
No,
I'm
I
so
said
sad.
Nintendo doesn't need an excuse to use a gimmick.
I was gonna say
They just take it and run.
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Sega does need a reason to use a gimmick. Unless it's a Sonic game. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Come on.
Did you guys hear about the new Sonic game?
Oh yes, you can now... original the character is now canon.
No. No.
My OC, please, original OC, do not steal.
Yes,
Guys, we can
original...
Jack the
finally
Hedgehog.
make Jack
Or
the
Jack the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
We need to do
Yeah.
this. GameCola
No.
needs to stream Sonic Forces and make Jack the
Dina
Hedgehog.
And what was
Did-
the other
okay,
one?
question.
Sakura.
Question.
God.
I think
Jackbot
Sakura was
Nega?
just actually the Sakura from Naruto.
Oh.
Yeah, well, we don't
Jack
forget
the
Jackbot
Hedgehog.
Nega.
Did it ever get like?
Naga.
Did he ever get like described? Like, do
We
we
could
know what he
probably
I
actually
find
am
looks like?
sure.
He's an OC. You can be guaranteed that there's artwork.
I am sure we can find
You know
this.
what?
Of this-
I'm gonna
of
do this
one
right now.
specifically?
You gonna
It might
find
be
it?
on the wiki.
It was
might be
Jack
on
the Hedgehog, right?
Yeah.
make
Jack
sure
the
it's on the
Found
wiki.
him. I remember I do remember it mentioning his color.
It did, yeah.
So I'm going to immediately
Wait,
assume
wait.
that
Oh
this
my
is the
God.
right
Let me
one.
guess. Is it orange?
Yes.
Okay. That was what I was remembering. So I'm gonna look at. Oh, so it's literally.
There you go. Oh, right, Patricia the Skunk. Oh, the memories.
No, what was the best? There was the best one that was.
Dr.
Might have
Eggplankton.
been like a burrito.
Dr. Eggplankton.
No. Hold on. Oh gosh, what was it?
I swear to God, one of them was like a food item.
So there's like somebody the Hedge Kid.
No, it was like someone who was like 50 things. Like
It's like the Cat Wolf Dog Fox or something.
yes, that one.
Let me see if I can find it. I remember that name vaguely, but I can't. Where is it?
Oh no.
It's too bad
Oh,
that
come on.
Coley's not on this podcast, because that was one of the first things I made her listen to. And we used to quote it all the time, like after I showed it to her.
I'm crying. I
Oh.
forgot about that
Go listen to
podcast.
Hacks and Slash #2.
Yeah.
Sounds
While you're doing
actually
that, while you're
good.
You should
crying,
go listen
tell
to
us what the name is.
Sonic Adventures X. There was an X in
Sonic
it.
X Regenerated.
Yeah, okay, I
Oh,
was
boy.
close. Oh god, good times.
I remember having technical issues with it and having to kick people out.
Yeah, we had to kick everyone out.
Yeah, we had to like have sections where
It
people
was
just
so
read
sad.
like certain chapters just in small groups because Skype. Everyone enjoy being on Discord now, where we don't have to do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Assassin the Hedgehog. I'm pretty sure that's not your name.
Do we want to move on to games we've been playing? Because there's a lot of us, so
Yeah, that might
it
take a
might
while.
take a while. Hold on, how many of us? Oh, I don't have it.
Pew, 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 pew.
I don't have it. Okay, we'll do it this way.
And if I had a Christmas tree
How
puzzle
many
or
of us
not.
are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, this will work. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Tails.
No. So it's. I'm
What
gonna
is-
use
No,
the
it's
person-
Sonic.
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Hold on.
Knock,
Hold on.
Knuckles.
Hold on. Okay.
Knock,
There were.
Knuckles.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. There was one head, so that means that we're gonna do the first person on my window,
Alright.
which is Diana. So Diana,
Oh,
what video
that
games have you
me.
been playing in recent times?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I haven't really been playing all that much because I've been
Diana Gray, you literally opened the podcast saying that you were playing a video game.
studying. If you'll let me finish, please, before interrupting me like a rude person. I was going to say that I haven't been playing all that much variety lately because I've been studying for the LSAT. But, so basically all I've been playing is, I've been replaying Virtue's Last Reward because I'm helping one of my favorite streamers through it. And then after that, after I finish Virtue's Last Reward, I'm going to do Zero Time Dilemma again because I've been helping Paul through that without having replayed it, which is fun because he starts complaining to me about plot points, and I'm like, Paul, I literally don't remember what you're talking about. I need to replay it. He got really mad at me about the end of the game, so I was like, it's not my fault. And the rest of my time has been consumed by Fire Emblem Heroes on mobile, which is great and fun, as always. I've dragged many friends into it. It's good. But I'm waiting until after the LSAT because I have a Nintendo Switch sitting on my dresser that I will be
nice.
breaking open frantically after the LSAT and playing Breath of the Wild, which is also
that sounds like
sitting
a
on my
waste of a
dresser.
Nintendo Switch. You're breaking
No,
it open.
I said I wasn't going to use it until
You're
after
breaking
the
it
LSAT because I
open.
need to study.
Why would you break it open?
Boo. Boo,
You could,
bad
break
you
the
could
box
give me the
open.
Nintendo Switch if you're not using it.
You could break it closed.
Then I could not use it for you.
Or you could
These
just
are
not
all
break it and just
terrible.
open it.
Okay, jokes aside, it would probably be good for someone on the GameCola staff. which is supposed to be a staff for a video game website, to maybe play the console that's been out for like 3 months.
But is it outside the mainstream?
I don't know what date this podcast is going up, but as of recording, 11 more days. Then I can open it.
So it'll be like 4 more days.
Okay, 4 more days.
It's Monday. Like, I don't... You
This
guys,
is very sparkly.
do you guys not know? It's been this way for so many years. It's.
I didn't.
Well, actually,
I forgot.
No, it changed
Okay,
from
then
Sunday
7
to
more
Monday
days.
recently.
7 more days.
It changed.
The LSAT's on the next Monday.
It used to be
5
Sunday, now it's
days.
Monday. Which is great because that gives me the whole weekend to put it off instead of just some of it.
Yeah.
And in answer to your comments from earlier, I was playing Fire Emblem Heroes at the beginning of this podcast, but I'm out of stamina now, so I'm just not anymore.
Hooray, microtransactions.
Actually, I should check again.
Cam and I keep talking about getting a Switch, but we also don't live near each other
Oh, yeah, don't do it.
or together. And he'd feel bad because he'd get to play it all the time and I wouldn't, because I would probably let him have it rather than keep it with me.
I'm really, really excited to open it, but I bet one of my friends that I wouldn't open it until after the LSAT, and he thinks that I will. Like, I'll give in and open it. I'm not going to. It's staying right there.
Is
You
there
have
like
only 11 more days, I
sealing
believe
on
in
the
you.
box, like to show that it hasn't been opened?
Oh, no, he totally has to trust me.
Well, then what's
But
the
he
point?
will. I don't know. All I know is that the stakes are, if I win, then he has to play Xenoblade. So I can stop bothering him about it. And he has to make me cupcakes, I think. That's also part of it.
Oh, that's like the best part of the bet, then.
Nah, that sounds like a fair deal.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
I have to do
I'm-
literally nothing, and you have to make me cupcakes.
I just have to not open it, which is really hard now that I have Breath of the Wild sitting on the dresser, too.
I believe in you. You can do it. You are so close.
I know. I really need to study for the LSAT, though.
Who wants to play a game about breathing anyway? It's dumb. So,
Oh my god.
But it's a wild breath.
But it's wild breathing.
Yeah, a wild breath has appeared.
Oh no! Steve used an inhaler.
Can't escape.
It's better.
See if
It's
you
it's super effective.
Okay, that's all I've been playing, so someone else can go now.
Jameson Pelster. What
Who,
video
me?
games have you been playing in recent times?
I have, well, I mean, aside from just my crippling addiction to Overwatch, I have also been, and my crippling addiction to 2064 Read-Only Memories, which is coming back, I promise, to any of you listening to the podcast who
Yay.
have been waiting, and who, if you watch that series, I apologize. Finals hit me like a ton of bricks, so soon? Maybe next week? I don't know, when is this podcast going up?
It's going up Monday.
Okay,
See, I'm not
this
the
upcoming
only one.
Monday? Alright,
I
so...
literally just said when the podcast is
Sorry,
going.
I
Did
was...
literally just say it.
Sorry, I was following in
Literally.
traditional GameCola fashion and not paying attention. So,
No, that's
but,
just me.
Oh, then I was
No,
following
that's
in
okay.
Diana Gray fashion and not paying attention. And, so I probably, maybe the Wednesday that this, the Wednesday of the week this podcast goes up, or maybe the week after, I don't know. But
Okay.
hopefully soon. Anyway, so aside from those two crippling addictions, I have also been playing the Zero Escape games, specifically
Yay.
on Steam. They re-released them on Steam a while back, and I have been playing 999 and Virtue's Last Reward. I beat Virtue's Last Reward on my 3DS, and I've also played through Zero Time Dilemma, but I have actually never played through 999 before.
What?
So I'm going... Yeah, I know. I mean,
We were all rabbits the whole time.
No.
Don't spoil it.
I mean, I have already seen a lot of the plot points from 999. Like, I know a lot of the stuff about it. I basically... I don't think you could spoil me if you tried. I've
I'm
seen
not
pretty
gonna
much
try.
everything.
Oh, man.
I've seen basically... I know the
What if
plot
I-
twist
what
at
if
the
I buy
end.
you a car? Would that spoil you?
Yeah, but I mean, or you could leave a thing of milk sitting out for a couple weeks. But I know, I'll say this much. I know the thing about the love interest. I know what happens.
There is no love and trust. That's the worst part of the game. Nobody falls in love.
Well, you haven't played Zero Time Dilemma.
This is true.
I haven't, but we aren't talking about that game. We're talking about 999.
Yes.
999. Nine people
999
try to fall in love, and they all end up hating each other.
Or blow up.
I don't think they blew up. I guess the
One of them
guy
did.
blew up.
I mean, one of them did right at the beginning.
I've never played these games.
You need to.
I should play them.
And then I'm also, so I'm playing mainly those games, and I am also very much looking forward to, and in anticipation to, Danganronpa Another Episode, Ultra Despair Girls, which is coming out sometime soon, possibly within the next month or so. It just says
it's supposed to be
Q2
soon.
2017, but I'd imagine it's pretty darn soon, because I've seen a lot of stuff related to it. And then in September, Danganronpa V3 comes out. So,
Yep.
that also has me pretty darn hyped.
Hype.
So, but that's about it that I've been playing.
Thomas Jettison.
Why didn't I get a fun name?
What video? Because I had to flip quarters for you. That was your joke. You only get one joke per person.
It was a lame joke. It wasn't fun.
That was the worst.
Sorry,
Alright.
Jeddy. Continue.
Thomas Jettison.
Yes.
What video games have you been playing in times that are recent?
Do you actually want me to list all 20-something games that I
You can list them.
Yes.
But you don't have to talk about every single one of them. Just give us the list.
the list? Hold on. Let me grab the box. There's Sugaroku Quest. There's Dragon Buster 1 and 2. There's Valis something. Devious. The Macross game for the NES. There's a cool Kunio-kun game. If people remember that guy, River City Ransom. I did get the Japanese version of Crystalis Godslayer.
Oh, nice.
I got an SD Gundam RPG, one for the Nintendo, or one for the Famicom and one for the Super Famicom. Minelviton Saga, whatever that is.
I think I know what you meant to say, but it kind of sounded like you had a game called Melviton Manelviton, and that would have been amazing.
Yes.
It would have been good. Yes, it was Minelviton Saga.
Michael, you and Paul need to make a game called Melviton Manelviton. Get on it.
Sounds
That's what
like
you
a
should call your
pastry of some
triangle
sort.
game. Call your trial game that, because why not?
Melviton. Got it.
Deep Dungeon 3. I have an amazing game called American Dream.
From Japan?
From Japan. I saw it and I didn't get it. There was also one called American Quiz Show or something. I almost bought it, but I don't know if I want to play a game in Japanese with questions about America. Maybe I should.
Maybe it's just based on an
What do
American
you mean?
quiz
That
show.
sounds amazing.
Sounds like it'd be really easy.
Or really hard, because none of the questions are right. The answers are correct.
I also got Bahamut Lagoon. There's actually a bunch of games that I haven't played still. What else did I play? I have Necros no Yosai. I have Necromancer. I have City Hunter, which has so far been one of my favorite games. Portopia Serial Murder Case, which I was...
Ooh.
It's an entertaining game, even if it's extremely slow. And difficult.
That
to
serial
understand.
killer is just not good at killing people
Yeah, it
efficiently.
just takes so long. We need
Just-
him
Or
to kill
at
more.
least
Just
it's
kill
bad
more
at their
people
job.
already.
Okay, well, imagine if read-only memories had been actually made in 1985. Imagine how slow and boring and difficult that would be. It's just a very slow text adventure.
Interesting.
See,
Oh, you know what
There's a
game
lot
I
of menus.
actually I wanted to ask. You mentioned a game that's like SD something. Is that like a thing in Japan? They just add SD to the beginning of some game titles? Because I've seen that with just other systems. Just a ton of different games. They have a version of the game, and then they have another version of the game with the same title, except it's SD and then the title. Is that what is that?
I don't know if I would say it's a trend, but it is kind of a thing. Like you might find. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find whatever this is. SD Gundam Densetsu Night Gundam Monogatari. Like, I don't think they have an official Night Gundam game that isn't SD. The thing is, it makes them chibi-fied, if you know the lingo.
Oh, that's what SD... Is that what the SD stands for?
Yeah, super deformed or whatever. Like,
super deformed?
That's my understanding of what it's supposed to stand for. Basically, it's like a parody version of Gundam stuff. In this case, it's like a fantasy RPG game.
Huh. Interesting.
Starring... I did play the first, 5 or 10 minutes of it, and I think Fraubo got captured by Satan Gundam, and then I wandered around and I had a battle with Amuro. I don't know why I was fighting. It's actually Amuro. Like, I'm playing the Gundam. But then I run into Amuro wearing, night suit of armor. It's not meant to be taken seriously. So I think if you see a game and then another game where it's like, hey, SD version of it, I would assume it means parody, but I don't know if that's been a thing that they've done since the 80s.
Yeah, because actually this segues into something I did want to mention is that about a Japanese game that I've always wanted, a Japan only game I've always wanted to play is, well, okay, it's not Japan only, but it sort of is Snatcher by Hideo Kojima.
Yes. And
actually, on the topic of SD, there is actually an SD version of that game, which is, like you said, it's all chibi-fied and stuff.
Okay.
So that's definitely a trend that has continued at least into the 90s anyway. But that's a game I've definitely wanted to play because I've heard that Snatcher on the MSX is really good. I mean, obviously the Sega CD version has the most amazing intro theme ever.
There is an SD version of this. This looks incredible. Sorry, I just quickly Googled it, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah, it's really funny looking, but because I don't know what really the major differences are, but I'd imagine I always like playing some of the original versions. Like I've recently been trying to play Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake for the MSX. And that game is fantastic, but, so it's kind of made me want to play a lot of those kinds of games, because, the MSX games that were never really released anywhere else.
Yeah. No, that was kind of something I was going for with getting, TurboGrafx games, is, there's a whole world of games that were never released over here that were, legitimately good. And, I don't know, I guess it's interesting to... I've played all the games that were released in America that I would like. I've played all the RPGs. So what am I going to do? But wait, there's this whole world of games that I've just never even seen before.
Yeah. Actually, there's a game you might... Have you heard of Sanctuary RPG?
I do not believe I have.
It's on Steam. There's a Sanctuary RPG Black Edition. It is... Basically, it's an ASCII RPG with a bunch of randomized text, It has an overarching story, which is, it is designed, but all of the battles you fight against, aside from bosses, are all completely randomized, as well as a lot of the dialogue. There's hundreds of thousands of lines of dialogue in that game, and it's just a very retro, roguelike sort of RPG, and everything is done with ASCII art. And cool. it has a really, really good sense of humor. Even your character, when you first create your character, it gives you just a randomized summary where it basically just gives you a long list of text, and all it is just a bunch of random options that it tries to come up with.
Yeah.
What was mine? I'm trying to remember what mine was, because mine was really, really funny for the barbarian I had. Oh, here it is. So, my character's summary was... Your name is James. You're a barbarian of Huskian descent. You can see why kids love the taste of Potionberry Crunch. Raised by a sphinx, you only speak in riddles. Drinking a gallon of melted cottage cheese has been your biggest regret in life. One to enjoy intellectual pursuits, you read your shampoo bottle labels daily. Today you promised yourself you wouldn't cry. Yet a strange feeling overwhelms you as you convulse on the floor. Out of nowhere, a woman grapples a nearby potato and punches it. Unsure of her intentions, you bite your fingernails. This is your story. Press any key to continue.
Wait, what was this again?
This is Sanctuary RPG, possibly the most hilarious and just random RPG games, and it's all meant to look like you're playing it on like a command prompt window. Like it basically just looks like a really big command prompt window with ASCII art.
Lovely.
It's so much fun. That is actually another game I have been playing quite a lot of recently.
So Joe, what games have you been playing?
I haven't. I literally have not played a game in like a month.
Oh, and you're gonna
no.
call me out on it?
You've
Since
let
the
us
last
down.
podcast.
No, okay, look, I wasn't calling you out on not playing video games. I was calling you out on you saying that you weren't going to be playing video games when you opened the podcast saying you were playing a video game.
You're right.
I
True.
was calling you out on lying, not playing video games. Everybody
You're
knows
right.
that playing video games isn't a requirement for the GameCola podcast.
Well, alright,
Okay.
Joe's boring. Move on.
Anyway.
Jeddy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean. All right, Mitch, L, what is the game that you are in times recently been playing?
In times recently playing have I been Spirits of Mystery, Chains of Promise.
What's that?
I don't know what you said.
Please
that
go
like
into
we
more
should know
detail.
what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But
I don't play games that it's none of you have heard of the Spirits of Mystery series, correct? It's a
No.
fairy tale princess adventure game series where you play
Aw.
a fairy tale princess and defeat the evil Issa. This time he's trying to marry my best friend, and that's not good. And the Elf
Right.
Kingdom is
Wait,
next
wait.
door, so I get to rescue my friend and take her to the Elf Kingdom.
Good.
important distinction: is he trying to be the one that like ends up being married to your friend, or he just wants to be the person that marries your friend to their spouse, and everyone's upset about that? Like he's like, I must officiate this wedding. You have to let me officiate this wedding.
Other games, he has had a love interest, but in this game, no, he himself wants to be the one to wed the princess. He plans on wedding the princess and then immediately killing the king so he can rule the kingdom. He's pretty wide open. I mean, he's pretty upfront about his plans. This is not an evil villain who messes around.
What a turn of events!
What a twist.
Hey.
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 Hi.
I can't think of a joke for your name.
Wow.
Anna,
Talk
banana.
about the.
Go with the lame one. Come
Yeah.
on.
It's
No.
okay. I was
I
just
can't-
listening to a podcast where you guys did that, and Anna was like, "No, why?"
Yeah, yeah.
I've got no, like, I don't like bananas. That's why I've been called that by so many people.
Because
it's
you
so
use
obvious.
it as your username for stuff.
But it
For
was like an
Only,
How about
like,
Anna burn the
three.
car key? I don't know.
Burn the car.
Something.
That's it. That's what I'm calling you now.
hold on,
Oh my
hold on.
Anna, talk about video games or something.
I play video games.
What have you been playing?
In recent
Valley.
times.
Stardew Valley.
Yay!
You wanna
I
know
still
how
need to
many
get back into
hours?
that.
How many
How many?
hours?
A lot.
108 hours.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Like today?
No.
Yeah,
Today.
Yeah, 108 hours in
so
one day,
108
sure.
hours in the day. Yes, exactly.
I don't know, maybe she's doing a speed run.
That was the best
That's,
day ever.
that's not how speedrunning works at all.
I
What
also
the heck?
tried
Meant
to
to long
play.
play.
I also tried to play. It was an adventure game, and it looked kind of King's Quest-esque, but it crashed on me, and I'm kind of okay with that because it looked okay, but the voice acting was really stupid. I was not a fan. I also tried playing Sims 4 because I paid for it, and I'm like, I have to play it, and it's not good. I don't like it still. I'm so used to Sims 3 that I'm just like, nope.
I agree. I've tried to play my sister's Sims 4 before, and I don't like it.
Oh, the Order of the Thorn. That's the Order of the Thorn, the King's Challenge. That's what it's called.
Okay.
That's the game that I tried to play that I did not like. Have I played anything else? I don't even think I've tried to play anything else. That's really sad. This is my life after college. I did get my sister to at least kind of start Earthbound.
Hey.
And she also bought Papers, Please, which is the game I played for like 5 days straight several summers ago.
Yay.
Well, if that's everyone's video games that they've been playing in
108
recent times.
hours.
It's almost as bad as me and Gmod years ago.
If that is everyone's video games that they've been playing in times, why don't we wrap things up?
Okay.
So,
Social media.
okay, no,
You
never
have it.
mind. Jetty, what have you put in the chat? Explain this to me.
Are you familiar with Adventure Time?
Yeah, no, I got that.
Oh, is
one.
that
I got that
based
one.
on the
I'm talking
upper
about the part
one?
above it.
That's so funny.
What is the context of it? So for you listening,
Is that supposed
it
to be
is
trying to say
including
your name?
a thing it says spam in like asterisks,
Yeah.
and then it says AE, and then there's like a line, and it says Artur
Jastrzebski. Jastrzebski. Artur Jastrzebski.
Yes.
outsourcing offer.
Russian.
Greetings, comrade. I am Artur Jastrzebski.
Jastrzebski.
Hello, is this Mr. Artur Jastrzebski?
I was like,
At least they tried.
And then
Almost know my
Jetty
name.
posted.
How did you almost know my name?
Picture where he's like, how did you almost know my name? And he says, I have approximate knowledge of many things.
yes.
They at least tried to make it sound like some kind of.
It would have made more. It would have
European.
been easier to fool if they hadn't put spam at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the GameCola spam filter. Discovered it as spam, but still lets me check just in case.
Oh, I
Sometimes it
see.
does- it
Just
does
in
get
case. You never know.
stuff
It's
that
like,
was-
how did you almost know my name?
Well, we better contact Artur Jastrzebski.
Artur
and,
Jastrzebski,
let him
dude.
know.
It
Yeah.
was an outsourcing offer.
Yeah. Probably a good idea.
Someone look up Artur Jastrzebski and see if he actually.
Artur
exists.
Jastrzebski.
In the meantime, I've got a hard deadline of
I
8
found it.
o'clock, so come on, guys.
Okay. Cool.
Wow, he has a LinkedIn profile and everything. Look at him. He looks like a cool
Whoa.
guy.
Okay.
You should tell
we have
him.
we have to finish. We have
We
to
have to
finish
end
the
the
podcast.
podcast.
Michael has to go. Okay. So thank you for listening to the GameCola podcast. If you like what you heard, please find us on our actual internet website, GameCola.net. You can also find us on YouTube. Letter G, letter C, the word net. That's the username for the YouTube channel. We also have a Twitch channel. It's GameCola. You just search GameCola and you'll find it. Anna, quickly, what is social media?
Guess what? We have Facebook and Twitter, and guess what? It's also GameCola. Not hard.
You can also use those to ask us questions that we will answer on the podcast if you ask us questions there. Or you could email us at podcast@gamecola.net. iTunes.
What was that email?
There's iTunes podcast at gamecola.net. You can also find us on iTunes, which is just search GameCola and you'll find us. Rate us highly. Unless you don't like us, then you can rate us not at all. And that's how that works. So
Then go
thank
away.
you for listening and goodbye. Okay, bye.
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 Okay, now we can wait. Hold on, let me do the thing. James Pelster. Okay, there we go.
It's gonna.
I'll just edit that
Seamlessly.
in. I'll edit that in. I'll fix it in post. It'll be fine.
Yep, it'll be great.
Do it live.
Just fix it.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Okay. So
Speaking of live, I'm live editing my Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Oh.
What is it? Spirit of Justice. What is this newest game? Spirit of Justice, right?
okay, Michael, I
Spirit
can't
of Phoenix.
I can't. You're gonna have to introduce that differently because you can't use it. You can't segue out of a conversation that I'm gonna edit out.
Wait.
You can't be speaking of live because I'm gonna edit that part out. So you can't use that to transition into your topic.
Speaking of transitions, I am live editing.
Now I remember why we didn't invite him back.
Speaking of Ace Attorney,
I love Ace Attorney.